What if you played Breath of the Wild, but 100 years ago before Calamity Ganon's attack? Hello everybody, I'm Hyrule Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about what Breath of the Wild could have been like if you played Breath of the Wild, but 100 years ago. So, I am going to look at how Breath of the Wild could have been 100 years ago, and how the gameplay could have been potentially better or worse played 100 years in the past in Breath of the Wild. First of all, I'm not saying that the gameplay in Breath of the Wild is bad or anything like that. I absolutely love the gameplay in Breath of the Wild. This is just how it could have been if the game took place before Calamity Ganon's attack 100 years ago. First of all, the life in Hyrule would be a lot different from what it is in the present. For example, the life in Twilight Princess is a lot more present compared to Breath of the Wild, as there's many villages and of course Castle Town in Twilight Princess, which creates a big population of Hylians. Not to forget all the other races in Zelda, such as the Zora, the Gorons, the Rito. Obviously, the higher Hylian population, the more potential knights they could have to help prevent attacks from Ganon, or any other enemy who threats the Kingdom of Hyrule. The game would be a lot more interactive with NPCs, as there would be a lot more Hylians to talk to, adding more potential side quests to the game if it was set 100 years in the past. Also, if we were playing 100 years ago in Breath of the Wild, as some of you may know, the ruins of Long Long Ranch can be found in Breath of the Wild near Hyrule Castle. I will put an image on the screen, and if we were set 100 years before Calamity Ganon's attack, we could have the potential visit of a very famous place in Zelda history, and who knows, maybe we could even obtain Epona without the need of amiibo. And I've said in my previous video, I didn't like that the only way to get Epona in the game was via amiibo. I didn't like that personally. So next I'm going to talk a bit about exploring. If Breath of the Wild was set 100 years ago, before Hyrule was practically destroyed, there would be many villages in Hyrule, a lot more than there is in Breath of the Wild, as a lot of them would have been destroyed by Calamity Ganon during his attack. So with new villages comes new characters, and with new characters comes new quests and side quests, which in my opinion Breath of the Wild does not have a lack of side quests and quests. However, it would be pretty cool to have even more, along with more villages and characters. It basically makes exploring in Breath of the Wild more than just climbing mountains, going across grasslands, hills and all that stuff that's in Breath of the Wild. Because for all we know, before Hyrule was destroyed by Calamity Ganon, there could be villages on top of some of these mountains that we don't know about, which we would if we were playing in the past 100 years ago. Now, the final thing I wanted to talk about is there would be potential for real dungeons. Now, when I say real dungeons, I mean traditional Zelda style dungeons. Dungeons that are based off of an element. For example, the Water Temple, it's based around water. The Forest Temple, based around forest or grass. The Fire Temple, based around the element of fire. But no, we have Divine Beasts. Now, I don't hate the Divine Beasts, but they could have been a lot harder and a bit less similar. They're all really similar, and they're not really that hard. The only real challenge is the boss battle, which even then, the boss battles in the Divine Beasts aren't that hard. I would have really loved traditional styled Zelda dungeons in Breath of the Wild, which I think is something that's missing, and it's something I didn't like that much because it's missing it. Another thing was, if we were back 100 years, I would love the ability to fight alongside the champions of Hyrule. Daruk, Mipha, Urbosa, Revali, Zelda I guess as well, the King of Hyrule. All the champions, it would be so cool to fight alongside them, especially in a big battle, possibly even a war. It would just be so epic to battle with them. And the last thing I've got to say is, I would have loved so much if we could have had a battle with Ganondorf, like a proper sort of almost human-like form. Now, if we were back 100 years in Breath of the Wild, I believe this possibly could have happened. I would have much rather preferred that, because I think we can all agree the final boss battle in Breath of the Wild is not so much a joke, but it's not very hard, especially the second form. The second form of the final boss battle in Breath of the Wild was way too easy in my opinion, and I think that's something we can all agree on. That is why if Breath of the Wild was set 100 years in the past, I think there could be a lot of things added to it that would make the game a lot better. But I'm going to ask the question in a moment. So here it is. The question is, would you like the ability to play Breath of the Wild 100 years in the past. Now, what I'm saying is 100 years in the past as an additional feature to being able to play the main game. This is an addition to the main game, so it's not as in 100 years in the past is the game. This is just an addition to the game, so you'd be able to go back and play then. So would you like the ability to do it? Because if there is, there's so many possibilities to how the game could be improved if that was to be a possibility. I know it's very unlikely this would happen, but as I said, it's just a theory. Thank you everyone so much for watching the video, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like down below, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.